Okay. Can you talk about the situation that you have that's ongoing with Stutta Box? I know Greg is working on getting us the either audio or the...
Yeah, I talked to Reggie today. Yeah. He said he'd been in talks with Greg. I guess Greg got some of the audio, I guess Stutta Box was telling. Right. It really not an ongoing thing because it's like, I'm kind of like a victim, but I'm not. I survived it. Mm-hmm. But it just lets me know the route of the streets. Everybody in the streets knew that situation. Everybody in the streets watched that man go to CCB court on 7, 8 of his homeboys and line them up and tell. I knew the inner workings of it because we was neighbors. Mm-hmm. So I knew when the car got shot up, I knew all that, what was going on. I just didn't know he had went to the police. I didn't know that I didn't know he was a working informant for the feds initially. Mm-hmm. And the feds, I believe, then referred him to LAPD, which was Greg Cadence. I was always a target. I didn't come to know about Greg Cadence till after my door was kicked in, my wife was handcuffed, and they took a bunch of my files down to the Wilshire building, the federal building, right? I guess the initial case, from what I understood, was the investigation of the murder of Biggie Smalls, which was being handled on the Fed side. And I think the feds kind of like joined forces with Greg Cadence, LAPD special units, right? So I think a lot of federal funding and federal buildings and was being used, which I know to be true because it would be times the Stutta Box would call me. Like one time, he called me to meet him at Stevie's on Ventura Boulevard, soul food place, right? So I get in there. I don't know, he got these 2 chicks with him, But Stutta Box always got women with him. Right. He like, yeah, these 2 chicks, she from New Orleans and she from whatever they hear. They just want to holler at us, they cool. Some bad bitches, and I'm looking at Box like, all right. We order food. Box gets up, goes to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. When he goes to the bathroom, the one chick from New Orleans says, yeah, we was here to buy 5 keys. But our connection, he went dark. Mm-hmm. Box tells us that, you deal with Suge. So I'm like, what the hell was Suge got to do with 5 keys, right? What the fuck do I got to do with 5 keys? But at the time, I'm not understanding what's going on. Mm-hmm. I said, look, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Yeah. So I make my way to the bathroom. Instead of going left, I go right to valet. I get out of there. Mm-hmm. 15 minutes later, Box like, where you go? Because he didn't came back. Where you go? Man, I'm on my way home. Oh, bro asking me something about 5 keys and Suge and all that. I don't know who you with, bro, but watch your back. I don't know what that's about. Yeah. Now, what's shocking is, fast forward months later, I find a tracking device on my diesel. It's in the book. I didn't know what it was. Right. I call my company. I'm thinking they put something on my diesel, trying to monitor my driving versus my logbook. Right? And this my mechanic that still works down there today will verify this. Mm-hmm. I called him on the phone. Hey man, pissed off. Man, you put something on my, on my truck. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Call local police department. Whole time, Greg Cadence is listening to the wiretap. So I guess they was able to see where I was at, call ahead. So when I called, the police department gave me this mumbo jumbo. Oh yeah. They've been doing that to trucks in the area. Go ahead and take the box off. Leave it there. We're going to be on the way, this, that, and other. Okay. I don't know about it. I'm still in the dark. Right? So this when the light came on. When they raid my home, they watch my wife take my kids to school, come back, they come in. Mm-hmm. They're running all through the house. They don't find her. They find a firearm that's registered to my wife. Right? Greg thinks his leverage is, Wack lives in the house. He's an ex-convict, right? He's supposed to be around firearms. Mm-hmm. Little did Greg know that I'm not a resident of the state of California anyway. Mm-hmm. So I owned like 7, 8 houses at the time. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, at that time, I had about 12. Mm-hmm. I was heavy in real estate. Yeah. So they took a bunch of my files. I go down there where I think my attorney was Jeffrey Brody at the time. Tell Brody to meet us at the Wilshire District. We get up there. It's Officer Greg and his partner. But this what fucks me up. When we come off the elevator, I see a bunch of people in FBI flag jackets. Guess who one of the persons I see? The fucking female from New Orleans that asked about the 5 keys. See, this get deep into what he talking about.
Yeah.
Right? And he was already working with the feds on whatever he been working on with dealing with everybody in LA County. From the understanding with my attorney and Greg, they didn't know Box. Box was sent to them by the feds. So the question everybody need to ask is, what was he already doing with the feds? He was already working with them. It's documented, right? So when I came off and I seen the chick, because she was real fine, like a Creole style girl, right? I said, damn, that's the one. That's when the light came on. But it still hadn't registered. I still don't know at this time. I'm telling myself, oh shit, I wanted Box know this motherfucker's the feds. I still ain't put it together. So when we sit down, my attorney go to threaten to file a harassment suit. You know, I live in a gated community. You done kick this dude's door in, embarrassment, this, that, other, this, that, and other, this, that. We still don't know what basis they had for that.
Right.
It doesn't come out till we're pressing about this lawsuit until we get to the bottom. And they have a talk with my attorney like, look, man, we need him to drop that lawsuit. You know, things that happen between then. I've been pulled over leaving Encore Studio, Game Studio, right? Searched, cuffed up, ran through my car, didn't find nothing. I go to Burbank Police Department. I memorized the license plate number of the vehicle. So y'all made to file a complaint, harassment, this, that, and other. Got my attorney on the phone, this, that, and other. Right? You can go pull this shit up. I'm pretty sure it's a case number to this, right? They're like, I give them the license plate to the vehicle. They said, don't make sense. That's definitely LAPD vehicles, not ours. They offer offers like off of San Fernando in the LA area. Go to this address. I get to the address. I'm in there like talking my shit to whoever the watch commander is. And they like, we don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, yeah, I just left Burbank. This license plate is registered to your police department. They pulled me out, searched my vehicle without my consent. At this time, I'm oblivious to this shit. All this is Box. Right? They trying to catch me dirty. Right? Guess what walks in the door? The 2 fucking officers. It's like 2 in the morning. I said, that's them right there. So even Greg says, he's like, yeah, you was a different type of animal because who memorizes a license plate number, right? So I didn't know until Greg was like, look, man, you got this lawsuit on us. We don't know nothing the fuck about you. We don't want to know nothing the fuck about you. And I think Greg had made his mind up, because I don't know what it went in previously, that he had it with Stutta Box. So he told me like, yo, this dude right here is the one put us on you, this, that, another. I'm in shock. Because I'd never had discussions with Stutta Box about my trucking business, what I did. He would always call and tell me, yeah, my homeboy Baldhead, some dude named Baldhead. My homeboy Baldhead drive trucks. But what, he don't make no money like that. He's still struggling to do this, that, and other. So I think in his head, he like, how this dude living behind the gate with me? He got Mercedes Benzes, his kid is going to private school. Like, I think in his head, he's like, okay, I know he do business with Suge. He put together his own little thing and says, because he's asking, where you going? Oh, down there by TJ. But it's a city called National City where the car carrier boats dock. Yeah. So we load Bentley, Porsche, Toyota, Mazda, all that's loaded down there, right? And he was like, where you headed? Oh, man, I'm going northwest. It was a great run. Run played like 15, 16,000. Great run, right? So I think he put all this in his head that, because he knows some truck drivers, he would always reference some dude named Baldhead from his neighborhood. I don't know the dude. Yeah. Man, he don't make that kind of money, so I think in his head, he's like, this dude doing something. And he fed him. He didn't even snitch, he lied snitch. Yeah. That's a different kind of snitching. Because you fabricated some shit and then told it to the police and put them on me. right? And that's Derek Kane. But Reggie told me working on getting some tapes and stuff because he's very adamant about what he did or didn't do. Everybody in Los Angeles, the fact that he can sit there with Spotted Logan and whoever this other little dude is that don't know how to talk, I don't know this little dude, and they say, yeah, we know you told on the homies, but that's cool. He says nobody went to jail. Well, I'm confused. In CCB court, them 7 dudes got on the county jail bus and got transported to downtown and came out of the back in LA County jail jumpsuits. They fought that shit down there 9 months. What does he mean nobody went to jail? They was in jail for this case that you pointing the finger at them on, right? What you mean? The only reason why they beat prison is because they was able to line you up, make you perjure yourself on the stand, and claim you wasn't a fucking informant, and in walks Greg Cadence, which I orchestrated that with Mark Stevens and my attorney. The only one came from that. You dropped the shit, we dropped the shit. I used it for that to help a certain individual out. I called my attorney, had the attorney put Greg Cadence and Mark Stevens together. They put that together to Ask Box on stand if you go pull the paperwork. Have you ever been a confidential informant to work for the LAPD, the FBI as a known snitch? He lied on the oath and said no. Greg Cadence takes a stance, provides a document that this dude is in fact one of our informants, this, that. At that point, the judge looks at it. He perjured himself. Therefore, any allegations or any claims he's bringing on anybody is non and void. They dropped the charges on these 7 Crips and let them go. So in a sense, this Paul Roof freed the Crips. But, you know, my target was to help another individual out. And that's where that came from.
Okay.
And all this, you ain't got to talk about it. Go to CCB court. You can use the main dude's name, Liddell Ross, Robert Ross, the people, which is the DA side, versus Liddell Ross. That could be a controlling document at CCB court. Pull that up, and you'll have all the transcripts. Or go to Google and put Robert Ross in there, and it'll pop up Channel 9 News, Channel 11 News, you know, what it was. This ain't no, you know, and it amazes me on how everybody act like they don't know. I guess it's a statute of limitations just to telling. But, you know, hey, they got to live with that. I'm not worried about it. You know, I've always kept communication with him, answering my phone, because he's one of those dudes you got to know how to see him, know where he at. You know what I'm saying? You know, so I got tons of text messages. Speedy, our man from Hard Time Hustle, is incarcerated right now. You know, witness that man on the phone saying, I told on Wack. I got the recordings. I'm just waiting for the right time to flame him up. I told on Wack. I was hating on him. Speedy's a reputable Crip. Those of y'all know him. Tap in with him. One thing about him, he gonna side with what's right. So, you know, I ain't gotta do no back. I'm not finna do no back and forth with a known rat. Brother Will from the Fruit of Islam and the Nation of Islam went to these court dates and watched this man point these fingers out. This is real people, right? It was a lot of people in there. So, and it's documented. But if everybody want to act like it didn't happen, cool, it didn't happen. I was always a target. A target is not a CI. They try to flip a target to a CI by catching the target up on a situation, and he's in fear of going to prison or whatever, and then they try to see what he can give them on somebody. That's how that works. We know the game. I was a target.
But they're never able to find anything with you doing anything wrong to try to use that against you.
Greg wrote about it in his book, Murder Rap, chapter Stutta Box.
Yep. And they even depicted that in the TV show.
I was a truck driver.
Yep.